Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome to another live stream. It is another week, another Monday, another Liverpool review and preview of this past weekend and the week to come. A big victory on Saturday against West Ham. A massive 5-2 victory for the Reds. Caesars go into 5th in the Premier League table. Chelsea lose. That was somewhat to be expected. But that does open a doorway now for Liverpool to further exploit. Chelsea have fallen out of the top 5 for now at least. Liverpool have capitalised. That's all we needed to do. And it was a very, very good weekend. It would have been better if Crystal Palace had beaten Manchester United, of course. But for what it's worth, the top 4/top 5 talk for this season is still very well and truly on for Liverpool. It's not obviously what we wanted at the beginning of the campaign. We obviously wanted a lot more, but these are the cards that we're playing with right now. So we just have to make the most of it. And making the most of it. So far, we kind of are. Even if the performances aren't necessarily up to scratch, as we will get into, I'm sure, a little later in the stream. We're talking about the result. We're talking about the performance. We're talking about this upcoming week and what a big week it is for Liverpool Football Club. Not just Premier League action this week for us to contend with, but FA Cup action as well, as we head into a double header against Wolverhampton Wanderers, rock bottom of the Premier League table. We'll be facing them in both Premier League and FA Cup action this very week. But first and foremost, guys, how are we all doing? I hope we're all doing very well. I hope we're all happy. I hope we're all in a good place, whether it be footballing-wise or in life-wise. I hope we're all good today. I hope we're all ready to start a brand new week, brand new day, all of that kind of stuff. Big up to each and every single one of you that's already here. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you are new. Both things will always and forever be greatly appreciated. I encourage everybody as well to get involved in the chat, whether it's just stopping by to say hi or whether it's dropping in with any bits of news or any bits that you want to talk about today. Anything along those lines, or any of your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, that will make for great and interesting reading, I'm sure. Please feel free to get involved in the chat. Would love to hear from you all. This is, after all, is more your show than it is mine. I just bring some talking points. You bring the conversation. So where are we going to start? We'll start with Dean here. Big up, Dean is already in the building. Lovely to have you. He says, morning, Fletch. Wasn't the perfect performance, but it's a win. We haven't played well all season. And that is essentially it, bro. When I talked about this game in my match reaction, I basically said the same thing. I'm happy for the win. The positives were we got the win. Positive were that, again, our set pieces look strong. But after that, apart from maybe a couple of individual performances that were really good on the day, I can't really say too much positive about it because overall as a team, the performance wasn't great. West Ham somewhat got the better of us a little bit at times. Again, if it wasn't for some poor finishing or even Alisson Becker being incredible between the sticks, it could have been a completely different story. And the worry for me is that for 2 weeks in a row now, we may have got the win against Nottingham Forest. We may have got the win against West Ham. But in both of those games, they could have easily been different scenarios that played out. Forest had a number of good opportunities. They just didn't take them. Callum Hudson-Odoi forced a great save from Alisson Becker. Igor Jesus really should have done better when being put through on goal. It allows Van Dijk to get back. It's good recovery from Van Dijk, don't get me wrong. But realistically, Van Dijk shouldn't really have a chance of getting back in that situation, but he does. There were probably another couple of opportunities that Forest made for themselves throughout that game. And against West Ham, Liverpool let West Ham, well, I wouldn't say let, but Liverpool were too open at times. West Ham played through us very, very quickly, very efficiently. And again, if it had been more of an efficient finishing job from West Ham, then it could have been a very different story. It really, really could have done. We got fortunate. We got fortunate in certain respects. Don't get me wrong, the clinical finishing, especially from the likes of Ekatike, and McAllister and Van Dijk, brilliant. Don't get me wrong, the finishing from those three in particular was brilliant. But the second half display, individual errors, poor individual performances, it's a statement, it's a staple of our season. It is a consistency in an inconsistent season of our campaign, which is that performance-wise, every now and again, we'll put in a great performance, but there's nothing sustainable. There's nothing constant. There's nothing consistent about it. It's just every now and again, we'll put in a great performance, but for the most part, we're just going to turn up and see what happens. And sometimes we get away with it, and sometimes we don't. And these past couple of weeks, we've somewhat got away with it. Yep, finishing-wise, very, very good. Goalkeeping-wise, very, very good. One or two other performances, good, great, fantastic. Overall, as a team, as a collective, not so great. And look, as far as finishing top 4, top 5 goes, look, I think we'll get Champions League football for next season. I think it is basically due to the fact that Chelsea, Aston Villa, I think there'll come a time for Aston Villa later on this season where I think they'll have to choose between Europa League and the Premier League. And I think that they should prioritise the Europa League because you get a trophy. Unai Emery also is very good at winning the Europa League. We know that. So I think that they'll get dragged down into it, as they already have been, by being leapfrogged by Man United this weekend. So I think Liverpool will get the job done, and especially with us being against Wolves and having a couple of favourable but not dead cert games coming up, we might be all right. We might just be all right. It's not enough. It's not what we wanted. We wanted more going into this season. But like I said at the top of the video, it's the cards that we're playing with right now. And that's just the fact of the matter, unfortunately. Big up Ballum is in the building. Lovely to have you here, bro. Big up to you, my bro. Hope you're doing well. It says, morning, Fletch. I hate Mondays and Tuesdays. Sounded like Garfield there with the I hate Mondays quotes. An interesting stat, joint record. Chelsea have 9 red cards so far this season. Will they get one more red card this season? I mean, with the way that their discipline's going, bro, it might not just be the one that they get. They may actually get more. So, I mean, I don't know what Pedro Neto must have forgot yesterday. He was already on a yellow card. He must have forgot yesterday to go into making that stupid challenge. He must have already forgot that he was already on a yellow card. Absolute brain dead moment from Pedro Neto. Just absolute stupidity of the highest order. A state of the art, absolute plonker. I couldn't believe it. I genuinely couldn't believe it. I mean, first and foremost, I'm just saying, check these guys' betting accounts for one thing. Check these guys' betting accounts for one thing. Just in case. Just in case. I'm not stating any allegations or anything. I'm just saying, just do some due diligence, do some homework, just check these guys' betting accounts and just see if, something isn't out the ordinary. Because the lack of discipline at Chelsea is just getting way out of hand. I want to go in on Chelsea a bit more. So I'm just going to leave it there for now. But I really want to go in on Chelsea a little bit more because it's not looking good. It's not looking good. Premier League predictions video, when matches tomorrow night and so on. Probably tomorrow morning. It will probably be tomorrow morning. Might be later on tonight. I'll see how I'm feeling. But it probably will be tomorrow morning before the games kick off. So, well, not directly before the games kick off, but tomorrow morning, the morning of the games kicking off. Liverpool won. We move on to last place Wolves. Wolverhampton won't be easy. Why? They win the derby against Aston Villa. Yeah, they picked up a big win on Friday night against Aston Villa. I don't think a lot of people expected them to pick up that big West Midlands derby victory there. And of course, if we remember correctly, they did give us a good run for our money when we beat them by 2-1 in December. But it wasn't exactly smooth sailing for the most part. Again, another example of if a team knew how to put their chances away, it could have been a completely different story. Wolves were very good on the day in the second half. They just could not take their chances. So again, we need to not take this game for granted. We need to be professional about our approach and get the job done. Do I feel like we can do it? 100% we can. Do I have complete confidence that we can go on and win? No, not necessarily, because I've been here multiple times where we've slipped up in these types of moments. And especially with the way that we've been riding our luck these past couple of weeks, as much as I think Liverpool will win, I wouldn't also be surprised if we dropped points, lost even. So we shall see. James Milner has the record now, the appearance record. Yeah, big up James Milner every single time. I'm sure he celebrated that night with a nice, cool Ribena. Gakpo and Gravenberch needs to be dropped for me. I just wish Slot believed in Rio more, but we will always be saying this with this manager. We've been saying it all season, haven't we, Dean? We've been saying it all season. Rio needs to be given more minutes. He needs to be given more experience, and he needs to be given more game time. Cody Gakpo. I'm going to use Cody Gakpo here because Rio obviously is directly his sort of understudy, if you like. Cody Gakpo scored a fortuitous goal this weekend. I'm not taking anything. I'm not trying to diminish what he did. Still have to score the goal, obviously. But somewhat slightly fortuitous. It's the miss about 5 minutes beforehand that really, really frustrated me. He missed a very favourable opportunity from about 5 yards, about 5 minutes before he actually put one in the back of the net. Now, that goal is basically Gakpo, a 1 in 10 situation. For every 9 times that he cuts inside, for every 10 times that he cuts inside and has a go on his right foot, only one of them will seemingly find the back of the net. That was that 1 in 10, seemingly. He missed a chance a few minutes beforehand. There we go. Everyone back? Are we back? Should be back. There we go. I don't know why. I think I knocked it out. My bad. I forgot my point. I got my point. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that. What was I saying? Gakpo, right? Yeah. 1 in 10, Gakpo scores. Cuts inside on his right foot, scores. I've seen it over and over again. And it doesn't work this season. It just doesn't work. Our build-up play is without Florian Wirtz. Get the ball out to our wingers and hope they do something. Mo Salah's not been amazing either, don't get me wrong. But at least Mo Salah's got a bit more credit in the bank than what Gakpo has. At least with Mo Salah, every time I see him get the ball, he is now our touchline winger for some reason. And not only that, but he's constantly surrounded by 2 or 3 opposition players. Very difficult to do anything in that situation when you are down 2 or 3v1 and your players are not running around you. It's no surprise that when he's got players running around him, you see a better version of Mo Salah. Now, is that partially down to Slot's tactics? Yes. I also think partially it is down to Mo as well. I do think that maybe naturally him being a year older obviously means there is a bit of a decline there. I didn't think it would be this drastic and this much when you compare it to like last season. But as well as that, when you are our main creative spark and everyone knows that, of course you're going to be marked tightly and of course you are going to be doubled up on. So it's a struggle. It is a struggle with Mo Salah, but there does seem to be a slight drop in pace. There does seem to be a slight decline to his natural performances. So Salah hasn't been amazing either, but like I say, at least there is some sort of credit to Mo, and at least every now and again, Mo will do something that is a creative spark. I mean, he created the best chance of the game outside of the disallowed goal and then the actual goal that was allowed to stand. Salah created the best chance of the game against Forest last week. Every now and again, he still has that creative spark in him. It's just unleashing that and using that to devastating effect, giving him time on the ball to actually do something, giving him runners to move around him to do something. With Gakpo, it's the same predictable thing over and over and over again. It's get the ball on the left, stand up his man, wait for Kirkez to make a run on the overlap, and then use him as bait, cut inside, unleash a shot on your right foot, and watch it fly into Rosette. That's essentially Gakpo down to a T. He's not been performing great. And yet I see Rio come on, and Rio has a number of ways that he can beat his man. I've seen Rio take on his man, go on his right foot. I've seen Rio take on his man to go on his left foot. I've seen Rio use the overlap. I've seen Rio cut inside. I've seen Rio take on his man, which is something that neither of our wingers now do. Neither of our wingers take on their man anymore. Rio's got that little bit of skill. He's got that little bit of pace about him, that no fear mentality that comes with being a kid wanting to go out there and just play football to impress. And that's what Ngamoa's got in abundance. So when I hear Arnie Slot moan about low blocks and stuff, I think you've got the tool right there. It's one tool. It's not a proven tool, but it's a tool that can be effective. Use him, because it's better than what is being provided right now by what you've currently got on the pitch. Gakpo needs dropping. He needs taken out. Bring him on as a sub for the final 10, 15, 20 minutes of games. Fine, fair enough. I can somewhat live with that if needs be. But stop having him be the first name on the team sheet every week. It drives me insane when we've got someone like Ngamoa who is just chomping at the bit to get some first team experience, chomping at the bit to get minutes on the pitch, and yet he is playing second fiddle to a player who is constantly putting in terrible performances, and there's no incentive for Ngamoa to actually go out there and play well in his cameo appearances, because Gakpo's seemingly the first name on the team sheet every week. How is it that Gakpo can play terribly and have no fear of being dropped, because no matter how poorly he plays, he's still there the next week? He's still in that same position, in the same in the same style, same play, same everything. It's the same every single week, and it frustrates the living hell out of me that is the case. He needs to be dropped. Ngamoa needs to be put in. And not only that as well, but you also mentioned Gravenberch. Gravenberch, I don't know what's happened with him these past few weeks. I mean, these past few weeks especially. But he needs to be out. He needs to be dropped as well. And if I remember correctly, didn't he go through a similar sort of patch last year around about this time, where his performances sort of dipped through tiredness, playing too many minutes, too many games? I seem to recall that happening with Gravenberch last year. So this isn't like it's something out of character. This is now seemingly developing into a bit of a pattern for me. But he's not been the same Gravenberch all season either, to be fair. But at the same time, in saying that, like I say, he's someone that we need to change. We need to change. And I know we don't have, again, a lot of defensive midfield options. But again, we have a young kid in Trey and Yoni, who, again, is chomping at the bit to get some first-team action. And in these two scenarios, the worst you're going to get out of these young kids is the same level of performances that Gakpo and Gravenberch are giving you right now. They can't get any worse. They can only get, well, They can stay the same, obviously, but they can't get any worse. But they can only get either better or the same. There is no way they can get worse than what is currently being on full display on the pitch week in, week out. Gravenberch needs to be dropped. Gakpo needs to be dropped. And maybe we might start seeing a bit more of a refreshed Liverpool side. Where did we get up to with the comments? Yes, not good enough. I might have misspoke a little bit, but you get what I mean, right? You do get where I'm coming from. Everyone knows to mark him. Yeah, exactly, bro. Exactly. Big up to you. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining me on this Monday morning. But yeah, everyone knows to mark Salah, because here's the thing. Liverpool's build-up play without Wirtz is predictable. We've got nothing through the middle. We've got nothing to very little to nothing through the middle. So we look to our wing positions. Now, everyone knows about Salah's creativity. Everyone knows about Salah's goal scoring. He's been our main goal contributor, whether it be through assists or creating opportunities or scoring goals over the past several years, right? Everyone knows that. So everyone knows that if we look to give him the ball, that's what's going to happen. He's going to create an opportunity, whether it be for himself or whether it be for his teammates, right? Gakpo, on the other hand, is the most predictable player on the planet. Cuts inside, has a shot. Cuts inside, has a shot. Who do you think is more likely for the opposition to want to have the ball in that scenario? In an attacking scenario, who is more likely for the opposition to want to have the ball? Gakpo, of course. Of course it's Gakpo. So what happens? They overload one side of the pitch. They double up on Salah, which means Liverpool have to use Gakpo, which means every single time he gets the ball, he waits for Kirkes to make the run to slightly drag the defender out of position, just slightly. And so he can then go, cut inside, have a shot. Does he use the overlap? Nope. Very rarely. And if he does use the overlap, 9 times out of 10, it's an overhit pass that ends up running out for a goal kick. Does he try and play anybody else in? Does he try and maybe cross the ball to the back post for maybe Salah himself to maybe get on the end of? Nope. Does he try a threaded pass into the penalty area? Nope. Does he maybe even try and drive into the penalty area himself? Maybe to maybe win a penalty or something along those lines? Nope. Just has a shot from 30 yards, aiming for the top corner, but finding the top corner of the stand he's shooting at. That's Cody Gakpo for you. I think it may be due to so many new players. I wouldn't necessarily say that. I understand where you're coming from with that. But we really should starting to see better performances right now. And we're just not. We're just not. We should be starting to see this team really gel together. And it's just not happening, unfortunately. Big up Kinsman is in the building. Lovely to have you here, bro. Big up to you. It was a decent performance in the match, but I know we could have done better. Yeah, absolutely. Like I say, I'm happy we got the result. I know it may not seem like it because I've moaned about Gakpo and I've moaned about Gravenberch and whoever else for God knows how long. But I'm very happy with the result. I'm very happy with the 3 points. I knew that Chelsea weren't going to beat Arsenal, so I knew that this was going to be a big opportunity for us to go above them in the table, which we took advantage of. I'm happy we got the result. Very much so. And especially because, it's against a relegation candidate in West Ham. They're not amazing. This is one of the more favourable games of our run between now and the end of the season to get these points. So I'm happy we got the result. But I can't help but look at the performances and go, it's another one of those performances where it could have so easily been different because West Ham could have taken their chances. On another day, if a better team with better finishing creates the same amount of opportunities, same type of opportunities, maybe they take them and maybe the game ends up differently than what we're expecting. As I mentioned earlier, the Wolves game back in December was similar. They created a number of half-decent opportunities that they just didn't take because they just don't have that quality in the final third. Neither did Forest, and Forest did the same thing. And now the latest is West Ham. And it was our clinical finishing that, of course, got the job done. But we didn't half make it hard work for ourselves. Didn't half make it hard work for ourselves in getting to that point. I mean, we were 3-0 up, went down to 3-1, then 4-1, and then 4-2. Just can never be smooth sailing. Can never be smooth sailing. Never be. You'll have to remind me, bro. You'll have to remind me. Which one are you saying replace him with? Who are we replacing? You'll have to remind me. I don't remember. Sorry, my memory is not so bad. I can't remember which one we're Gakpo. Right. So obviously Engamoa for me is the obvious one. But the thing is that now I could be misremembering this, but I do seem to recall Slot saying earlier on in the season that Gakpo's playing so many minutes because there's no one really to replace him. Now, of course, Engamoa stands out as the obvious choice for a left winger because, surprisingly, he's a winger. So he stands out as the obvious choice. But there's a lot of other players you can play there in that position, whether it be temporary or permanently, or maybe some sort of modified formation. You could play Soboslai there. I'm not all for it because obviously Soboslai is just playing amazing wherever he plays right now, but midfield is obviously where we want to see him more. But he's played there for Hungary, so there's no doubt he could play there for me. Ekatike can play off the left. That's 2. You could have Florian Wirtz play on the left-hand side. That's 3. Like I say, you could... Obviously, Engamoa makes it 4. Chiesa, of course. There's... Just in case, you didn't want to go with this 17-year-old kid, which I still don't understand why. I don't understand why you wouldn't want to put faith in this kid and watch him grow into maybe realizing his potential and his promise. There's still options there. You don't have to just pursue with this one player just because you think he's the natural choice there. And it's very hypocritical because our most natural choice right back for the past few weeks has been a player that Arne Slot has been absolutely dismissing left, right, and centre, despite the fact he's our only fit right back at the club. Now, of course, now Frimpong's back. That obviously changes things. But for the past few weeks, you've been playing Soboslai at right back and Curtis Jones at right back, when you should have been picking the natural right back because it makes the most sense. But you won't pick anybody else in Gakpo's position because apparently you don't have any player that can fit in that position. It's pure hypocrisy and it's weird. It's so weird. And like I said before, there is no incentive. There's no incentive for Gakpo to improve when he's the first name on the team sheet every week. There's no incentive there. He knows he's the first name on the team sheet every week. He knows that he can play poorly. Do you guys remember the Sunderland game at Anfield? I think it was December. I think it was the beginning of December. It was either like beginning of December or the end of November. I can't remember exactly. Gakpo got hooked at halftime. Gakpo was having, even by his standards, a abysmal display. He got hooked at halftime. Mo Salah came on as his replacement. Salah had a decent second half. Not like amazing Salah usual standards, but decent. What was the reward for Mo Salah in the game after that Sunderland game? He got benched against Leeds, which obviously led to the club's throwing me under the bus thing. Federico Chiesa also came on in that Sunderland game. Federico Chiesa saved Arne Slot's job that night by clearing that ball off that goal line, by racing back to deny the Sunderland striker from completely rounding the goalkeeper and firing into an empty net. How was Federico Chiesa rewarded for saving Arne Slot's job? He didn't play the next game either. How was Cody Gakpo punished for having a poor, shockingly bad performance in 45 minutes that he got hooked off at half-time? He played the vast majority of that game against Leeds. There is no incentive here for Cody Gakpo to improve as long as he keeps on getting picked. And whilst he knows that his understudy, his replacement, is a 17-year-old kid that the manager, Arne Slot, has seemingly no interest whatsoever in giving him more game time, more experience, Gakpo will continue to do these types of performances, this level of performance, and nothing is going to change. Nothing is going to improve. Simple as that. Simple as that. How about Van Dijk? The only problem with Van Dijk is that there's not many replacement. Although in the past few weeks, him and Konate have definitely improved. There's been definite improvement in our centre-back area these past few weeks. That's another small positive in these past few weeks. Our centre-backs have actually been pretty decent these past few weeks. But if you're talking about Van Dijk previously, Gomez not staying fit, we don't really have any properly fit senior defenders. So it kind of limits our options a little bit. But again, if they're playing that poorly, for me, throw an academy kid in there. Throw a promising young kid in there and see how they go. Because again, if the senior players are playing poorly, then whoever you throw in there, they can only play as poorly as the senior player. And you you don't really have the same level of criticism if they do that for the kid than you would for the senior level player. And especially for Van Dijk, who of course, like I say, a lot of credit in the bank, and of course is on a lot of money. So yeah, I wouldn't. It's slightly different with Van Dijk, but at the same time, kind of the same. If you get my meaning. But yeah, like I say, past few weeks, him and Konate have certainly improved. They I wouldn't. They're not quite like where they were like a year ago or wherever, but yeah, they've definitely improved these past few weeks. Konate especially has definitely improved. New players when compared to Salah's star era. Yeah, true. Okay, that's news to me. No one ready to replace him. There's to each their own. To each their own in terms of opinion and stuff like that. I just don't get it personally. I just don't get how you can look at the squad and not see any replacement for Gakpo, whether it be one game or whether it be a string of 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 games. I don't see how you can look at this squad and go, there's no one that can play in Gakpo's position. There's no one there that can replace him. Gakpo is irreplaceable. Yes, he is. He's very much replaceable. In the squad, in the transfer window, wherever. He is very much replaceable. But like I say, he's the first name on the team sheet. He's the first name seemingly on the team sheet every week. Arne Slot absolutely loves and adores him. He must be doing something right, even if a lot of Liverpool fans, including myself, can't see it. I just don't get it. I just personally don't get it. Is Arsenal winning the league? See, since Liverpool fell off a cliff, I've backed Arsenal to win the league. I've said that they will. And I still think they will. But the past couple of weeks, my confidence that in my prediction has shifted a little bit to the point where I'm seriously now considering Manchester City. And the win against Newcastle was really where it shifted. And now I'm like, after seeing what happened yesterday, massive win for Arsenal. Wasn't the most convincing, but they didn't need to be to beat that Chelsea side. Chelsea, shocking. Shocking. Absolutely shocking. I personally want it to be City. I personally would rather have City win. I've said it on multiple streams and multiple videos in the past. I would rather City win it than Arsenal. But I'm at this moment in time, and obviously things can change. Maybe in 2 or 3 games' time, maybe it might change. Maybe it could change on Wednesday, actually, if Arsenal don't get a result against Brighton and Manchester City win their game against Nottingham Forest, which, let's be real, is likely to happen. Not the Brighton one. The Arsenal are probably going to beat Brighton, but you know. But if let's say that they drop points and let's say obviously City win, then it might shift again. It might shift in favour of City because it is technically in City's hands right now. It is technically in City's hands right now to go and get the job done. However, points on the board mean more than games in hand. City still need to win that game in hand. They obviously then need to go and beat Arsenal at home. And then we'll talk. Until then, I'm still sticking with Arsenal to win. And I don't want that to happen. I've already mentioned why I don't want that to happen. And it's nothing against Arsenal as a football club, as an institution. There's nothing I have against them on that level. It's their fan base. That is my major concern with Arsenal Football Club. And the reason why I don't want them to go anywhere near a Premier League, a Champions League, even an FA Cup or Carabao Cup. I don't want them to go anywhere near them. Because I don't want to give them any more fuel to this fire that they've been burning for the past several years of delusion. Delusion, wild takes, crazy takes, outlandish and outrageous takes about how their manager's insanely good, generational, is what I think some Arsenal fans called Mikel Arteta, about how their players are generational, they're wonder kids, they're this, they're that, they're the other. Certain players can make it into Barcelona's all-time 11, Real Madrid's all-time 11, Premier League and Champions League and European all-time 11 and all of that stuff. Those Arsenal fans need to be humbled. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. It certainly will be. It will be tight at the top of the table. If Arsenal don't win, Arteta getting sacked? Well, okay. So, I think the scenario is anything outside of Champions League or Premier League. Yes. I know that obviously Arsenal fans are like, we just want a trophy. We just want a trophy. Do you really just want another FA Cup? Do you really want to beat Man City at Wembley in a few weeks' time for the Carabao Cup? And then that be it? I don't think you do. I think you want more. And especially, I mean, okay, let's say that you beat Man City in a few weeks' time at Wembley in the Carabao Cup. You win the Carabao Cup, right? But considering where you were a few weeks ago in the league, you go on to lose the league to Man City. You get knocked out the FA Cup. You get knocked out the Champions League. Are you seriously telling me you're still going to be happy just because you won a trophy? Don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking the trophy. It's still a trophy at the end of the day. It's still a trophy that Liverpool have won multiple times. We're actually the kings of that competition, right? But are you telling me that you're just going to, if you're one of these Arsenal fans that are like, we just want a trophy, we just want a trophy. Carabao Cup's going to be all right with you after losing the league from the position you were in, after losing in the Champions League despite being so proud that you passed the league phase with flying colours, 8 wins out of 8, topping the table, getting knocked out of the FA Cup, a competition you pride yourself on winning on, the only trophy that Mikel Arteta has won in his career at Arsenal as a manager, as a head coach? I don't think you would. I really, really don't think you would. I think there'd be meltdowns everywhere. So I'm not buying this whole, it has to just, it just has to be a trophy. Doesn't matter what trophy, it has to be a trophy. I ain't buying that. I ain't buying that. If Arteta doesn't win the Champions League and or the Premier League, he will be sacked. He will be sacked. 100%. Or at least he should be sacked. I'm not saying he will, because Arsenal and the people who make decisions at Arsenal can be kind of weird, can be kind of crazy. So nothing's ever a given. And this Arteta Kool-Aid that everyone seems to be drinking, maybe the Arsenal hierarchy are drinking it as well. But if they don't win the Champions League, and if they don't win the Premier League, after what will then be 7 years, is it, of being the head coach at Arsenal Football Club, with 2 billion spent, bringing in weird players like Madueke for over 50 million, which I still don't understand. I still don't understand. Bringing a number of others, having a front line that is Madueke, Gyökeres, and one of Trossard or Martinelli, which is, again, such a... It's not great. It's not an amazing front three, to be fair. You can't seriously be telling me he deserves another chance. One more chance. One more chance. He's just going to be the one more chance guy. And he's going to let you down time and time again. I think what he's done at Arsenal is great. I think what he has done at Arsenal to get them back to challenging, to improve Arsenal from where he took them over from, I think deserves plaudits. I think it deserves some recognition. But if he doesn't win it this year, he's just going to be known as the guy to lay the foundations. And the next guy to come in has to be an improvement on him that can sprinkle that little bit of stardust to get them across that finish line and get them from being contenders to winners. Arteta may be able to do that this year. May. But if he doesn't, you're surely not going to go through another year of this. Another year. And the only reason why I think Arsenal still might is because the future of Liverpool is up in the air. Manchester City's future is somewhat up in the air. Pep Guardiola may or may not leave a year early than his contract is scheduled for. Not only that, but the 115 charges are still looming, overshadowing every move that Manchester City make. And they could be dropped at seemingly any moment. Chelsea are in the mud. Spurs are in the mud. Man United, you don't know if Man United are going to be a ticking time bomb or not. So the only constant, seemingly, is Arsenal. And that might be the only saving grace that might save Mikel Arteta's job for another year if he decides he wants to stay on at Arsenal for that year. Only saving grace for Arteta. The consistency might eventually be enough to see them get across the finish line. But it might be this year. It might be next year. We don't know when that might be. But it's about timing. And maybe one time, 1 year, 1 season, he might be in the right place at the right time? We shall see. We shall see. Gyökeres doesn't seem good. I'll be fair. I've defended Gyökeres. I have defended Gyökeres probably more than some Arsenal fans have this year, right? I've said that he needs time to adjust. I've said he needs time to adjust to a new league, a new club, new teammates, that kind of thing. I've said that he needs time to adjust. Okay. I have to say that because I'm also giving these reasons to Florian Wirtz as well. I'm also saying Florian Wirtz needed time to adjust. And to be fair, before his injury, we actually started to see a bit more of Florian Wirtz flourish in this Liverpool team. I still think there's a player, a striker, a killer in Victor Gyökeres. I just don't think he's at the right team necessarily to draw that killer out. I don't necessarily think a team that heavily relies on chaos from set pieces is necessarily a team that better suits Victor Gyökeres. I don't think a team that has been using Kai Havertz for the past few years, a different type of forward, is better suited for Gyökeres. Now, that could change because I think that there could be a situation where you could modify Kai Havertz's position to maybe accommodate for Gyökeres and Havertz playing together. I think there could be something there. But I don't know what it is. Something's not quite connecting with Gyökeres right now. And something, or at least not on a consistent level anyway. We've seen flashes, we've seen glimpses. He scored against, ironically, when he first came to Arsenal, a lot of people looked at his goal scoring record in Portugal and said, "Oh, he only scores against teams in the bottom half of the league." Ironically, most of the goals he scored this season have come against teams in the bottom half of the Premier League. So, again, read into it what you will. I still think there's something with Gyökeres. I really, really do. I'm just starting to maybe think that it might just be that he's at the wrong team. That might be it. And sometimes those things happen. Romelu Lukaku at Man United, wrong was just wrong. It was just wrong. Like, wrong team for wrong team, wrong player. Alvaro Morata at Chelsea, wrong team, wrong player. Just a couple of examples, random ones I know, but a couple of examples of just wrong players at the wrong team at certain times. I just think it might be the same with Gyökeres. I just have a feeling the more and more that I watch him, the more and more that I see of him, because he will get chances, he will get opportunities, of course he will, and he will score every now and again because Arsenal play a style and are situated as such that they will have opportunities and chances to score goals, and Gyökeres, obviously being the striker, leading the line, will be mostly the vocal point of those attacks. But it's just not quite clicking as a lot of people, including myself, probably predicted it would. So we shall see. We shall see. Still think he's got time to improve, though. Although, If it doesn't work out, that's now two strikers from the Portuguese league that came over with big reputations, big promise, and have under-delivered. Darwin Núñez being the other one. So, don't think a lot of Premier League teams will be going shopping in Portugal if they are looking for strikers. Although the Sporting Lisbon striker that they replaced Gyökeres with is apparently catching the eye of certain teams. So we shall see. We shall see. Doesn't seem to have put off certain teams. We shall see. Big up Abdul is in the building. Lovely to have you here, my bro. Big up to you. Hope you're doing well on this Monday morning. Thank you for joining us. It says, hi, Captain Bledge. How are you? I'm good, bro. Hope you're doing well too. Liverpool 5, West Ham 2, Wolves versus Liverpool next. We need a CDM. Smash the likes and subscribe, people. Where has Mo Salah and Gakpo this season? Yeah, big up to you, bro. Thank you for doing that. And of course, like he said, you wonderful people, make sure you are hitting the like button and make sure you are subscribing if you're new. Both things are always and forever be greatly appreciated. Yeah, we've got a double header this week against Wolves. One in the Premier League, one in the FA Cup. And yeah, you are right. Mo Salah and Gakpo, for the most part this season, have been missing in action. I don't know, man. I don't know. I can somewhat understand it a little bit more with Mo than I can with Gakpo, but at the same time, it's still not good enough from a player that obviously wanted and demanded wages that were astronomical. Since getting them, he hasn't quite delivered to that level to the level of a player on 400k a week. So even though I can slightly understand, at the same time, I can't understand if you get my meaning there, but I 100% get where you're coming from. It's like the man at Atletico Madrid. I assume talking about Diego Simeone there when I was ranting about Mikel Arteta, but yeah, you were right. Liverpool's next 5 fixtures: Wolves in the EPL, Wolves again in the FA Cup, Galatasaray away first, then at home, sandwiched after Spurs. All of them realistically should be wins. Galatasaray away might be the trickiest of them fixtures. And do you want to know what the irony is as well? And I think I brought this up last week. The only game in that run, that 5-game run that you just posted there, Abdul, the only game that I'm actually the most confident in is Spurs. Now that I may have said that, I may have just completely jinxed it and Spurs might actually some way, somehow manage to beat us. But that's the only game I'm actually going into really confident with. How am I more confident in beating Spurs than I am against bottom of the table Wolves, who only just this past weekend managed to beat Derby's all-time Premier League record of having the lowest points tally in Premier League history? They just managed to escape having that title. How? How am I more confident for Spurs than I am for Wolves? It's crazy. I thought United was poor against Palace. Shocking referee decision. United weren't great, especially in the first half. In the first half, they weren't great. Look, the red card, it's soft. It's very soft. It's clever from Cunha. Certain other players, Mo Salah, would never get that. Mo Salah would never get that. If that was Mo Salah running for on goal and he got brought down in the way that Cunha did, he doesn't get that. Case in point, by the way, what is different about what Lacroix did on Cunha than what Gahey did on Salah a few weeks ago. Both through on goal, both goal-scoring opportunities, but one gets sent off and the other one doesn't. They're both pretty much the same. Now, granted, one carried on into the box. The other one, I think, stopped just on the edge of the box. But at the same time, Salah is still in on goal. Salah's still got a one-on-one opportunity with Donnarumma. The fact that Gahey got away with it, Lacroix didn't. PGMOL in the mud. Not only the first time this week, I'm gonna go into it in another video or another live stream. But the PGMOL, oh my God, they have got a lot to answer for this weekend. A lot to answer for this weekend. There's that one, the Lacroix one on Cunha in comparison to the one, to the one I just mentioned with Gahey on Salah. There's the goal that Liverpool scored for Virgil van Dijk, where Gomez appears to be slightly in front of the goalkeeper. How come this goal was allowed to stand, but the goal that Van Dijk scored against Manchester City all the way back in November was disallowed, when this one probably had more of an opportunity and a chance to be disallowed? Crazy. Even though they've given every single goal that has been similar to that since. So how come the Van Dijk goal against City got cancelled out, which doesn't make any sense? The Tottenham-Fulham game yesterday had a push in the back that was more of a push than the one that we saw on Gabriel last week. But the Gabriel one got disallowed. This one got allowed. There was the handball Leeds, I think Man City, which was fairly controversial. There was Declan Rice's handball as well, which I think should have probably been a handball, especially when you consider he's pretty much trying to grapple and wrestle with the player that he was marking. It was a crazy weekend, and the PGMOL have certainly not covered themselves in much glory. There's so much to digest from those controversial moments alone that it's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. We need to stop leaking in goals. We need to keep the ball better. We struggled with that all season, bro. The only players that can actually keep the ball between them is our centre backs and our goalkeeper. And even then, eventually, the other team presses us so much that we eventually go long and lose the ball anyway. We're good at passing between our centre backs to goalkeeper, Van Dijk, Konate, Alisson, Van Dijk, Konate, Alisson, Konate, right back to Konate, goalkeeper, Van Dijk, left back to Konate. That's all we do. That's the only time we ever keep the ball good. Otherwise, we don't. We don't. Think of Woodman, Davies, Robertson, Simicast, Gomez, Konate, Reece Williams, Ramsey, Endo, Besetic, Elliott, I can't even speak. Chiesa, Maka, Gravenberch, Jones, Gakpo, Salah, Dans. Do they have a future? Some do. I would love Elliott to come back. I'd love Elliott to come back, but he doesn't have a future under Arne Slot, unfortunately. Salah, I think we're in the last dance of Salah right now. I think Salah will be gone in the summer. I'd like to see Jadon Dans get more of an opportunity, but I don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately. I think we'll probably sell him on in the summer for him to get first team experience, and we'll probably put in some sort of buyback clause or something like that. Gakpo, I would drive him to wherever he wants to go. Jones, as long as Arnie Slot is the head coach, Jones might have to consider his future. Gravenberch and McAllister, I'm worried that their legs are falling off. Already. Chiesa, it seems as though Arnie Slot never wanted him in the first place. Bajcetic disappeared off the face of the planet after making a quite the impression and an appearance under Jurgen Klopp. Endo's nearing, how old is he now? 32, 33, I want to say, nearing that kind of age. Ramsey can't even get in the team despite the fact that he was our only fit right back for the past couple of weeks. He's got no chance. Williams hasn't been seen since obviously the season which he really stepped up for us. Konate, recent performances, if he keeps them up, and obviously if he keeps up that consistency, then 100% sign him to a new deal. Gomez, I still maintain, is a quality defender, but he's never fit enough. Tsimikas, if we're getting rid of Robertson this summer, it might not be a bad idea to get him back as a backup if he's willing to obviously play that role again. And Woodman's just there as our third choice goalkeeper for when Alisson has his annual hamstring injury, so he gets promoted to being our second choice. That's it. I think the death of Jota may be devastating. Yeah. Look, I'm not. I know, obviously, a lot of those players very emotional, and it would have been a truly horrific moment for them personally. I don't want to sound insensitive or anything like that, but for the most part, it's one of those things where you kind of have to just continue. You know what I mean? I don't wish to sound insensitive or horrible, but it's like, I understand it's riding on their minds and their emotions and stuff, but it shouldn't be something that we use as a somewhat excuse or anything like that. It's certainly a heartbreaking moment. It's something that nobody anticipated, nobody expected. It came really, really out of the blue. But no one was saying that when we were winning the opening 5 games of the season. When we won the opening 5 games of the season, everybody was under the same impression. Everyone was under the thought process of, all right, Liverpool haven't been convincing, but early start to the season, 5 wins out of 5. The performances will come. No one was mentioning Jota. No one was saying, oh, the spirit of Jota is driving them on or anything like that. And then as soon as we started to lose, people started to bring that up, and I didn't really like it. I didn't really like using him as an excuse. Yeah. I'm sure there's not a day that goes by that some of them remember him and cherish their memories together and all of that kind of stuff. It's very sweet. We are doing too much side-to-side passing, backwards passing, and possession-based football. We are not ruthless enough on goal. Not enough performances and inconsistent form this season. I think the person with the most touches for Liverpool this year is Virgil van Dijk. I'm pretty sure that is correct in my very poor memory, but I believe that to be right. Virgil van Dijk has the most touches of any Liverpool player this season. Why? Because, like I say, our build-up play is boring. Our build-up play is predictable. Our build-up play is pass it around at the back for a good 5 minutes, being so slow, lackluster, not offering anything going forward, nothing penetrative, nothing to break down a disciplined block that is formed in front of us. Just pass the ball around at the back. And then eventually, when the team that we're playing against decides to trigger the press, give the ball to Alisson, give the ball to Van Dijk, go for a diagonal to Salah. If it hits, good. See what Salah can do. Oh, wait, Salah's not the same Salah that he was last season, so he can do very little with it, especially when he's being ganged up on by two or three of them. Panic when we lose the ball, have our midfield so wide open that they just decide to walk through our midfield and give them an opportunity on goal. That is essentially the Liverpool method this season. And if we do manage to somehow go forward with the ball beyond the halfway line, rather than just pass it side to side, our build-up play after that is let's give it to Salah. Let's give it to Gakpo. Let's see what they can do with it. Gakpo cuts in, has a shot into Rosed. Salah tries something, ganged up on by two or three of them. We lose possession of the ball. Great. Predictable, slow, boring for the most part. You want to know who makes it exciting and interesting? Rio Engamoa. You want to know who also makes it exciting and interesting? Jeremy Frimpong. You want to know the problem with Jeremy Frimpong? He's never bloody fit. I watch Jeremy Frimpong now and I love watching him. But at the same time, in loving watching him, I fear for every move. Every move he makes, I fear. Every time he sprints, I'm scared. I'm scared that we're just one day going to hear a bang and that's going to be his hamstring gone again. I'm terrified. I want to see more of Jeremy Frimpong. I want to see if this partnership between him and Mo Salah can not only benefit Liverpool, but also potentially re-energize Mo Salah. I want to see it more because it looks like it's the perfect partnership. Salah wants to cut inside. Frimpong likes to go down the outside on an overlap and get to the byline to cross. It seems like it's a very good partnership and would work in tandem, right? But we don't see it often enough because Frimpong's never fit. Oh, friggin' annoying. Friggin' annoying. Big up Mr. Maxi who's in the building. Lovely to have you here, my bro. Thank you for being here on this Monday morning. I hope you're doing well. Says nice PSV shirt. Thank you, man. Got it in a mystery shirt box. It was actually a pretty good pick by them. So I'm very much happy with it. It's a decent shirt, this. Very, very good. Losses. Crystal Palace 3 times. Manchester City twice. Chelsea, Brentford, Bournemouth, Forest, PSV, Galatasaray is unacceptable. Draws. Leeds twice. Fulham, Burnley, Sunderland, Arsenal. The Arsenal one's not bad. The Arsenal one away from home, the draw's not bad. And it could have been more as well. Let's be honest, like that Arsenal draw, we actually could have won that game. But yes, everything else is terrible. Everything else is terrible. And to the newly promoted teams, the draws, they were all at home, by the way. Sunderland draw at home. Burnley draw at home. Leeds draw at home. Whatever reason, we couldn't beat the newly promoted sides in our backyard. Unacceptable. Losing to Crystal Palace 3 times, and not only just losing to Crystal Palace 3 times, but getting played off the park by Crystal Palace 3 bloody times. Manchester City losing to them twice. Look, slightly robbed in the first game, but not enough for us to be completely robbed of the entirety of the game. We still did not turn up in that game whatsoever. Partially because Manchester City were absolutely awesome on the day, but also partially because we just never turned up in general. So we were shocking. The second game, we were much better in the second half. We didn't take our chances. City did. City were deservedly winners. It is what it is. The Chelsea game, again, Chelsea took their chances. We had very little going for us. We were shocking that day. Brentford, we were appalling. Bournemouth, we lost to a very late winner, didn't we? Were we 2-0 up or 2-0 down in that one? No, I can't remember. Why don't I remember the Bournemouth game? And obviously, I remember we lost 3-2, but I don't remember if we were 2-0 up or 2. I want to say we were 2-0 down, but I can't remember. Yeah, we were 2-0 down. Yeah, we were 2-0 down, fought back to 2-1 just before half time, then 2-2, and then, yeah. And then lost it in extra time. Yeah, it's shocking. The only thing that I will say that's been a positive is that our set pieces, attacking wise, have actually improved. I never thought I'd see the day where Liverpool were a threatening side from set pieces. And now we are. Free kicks, we have a good opportunity at scoring from them directly or sometimes indirectly. Corners, we have actually a good opportunity of scoring from them. We're actually threatening. We actually find the right men to attack the ball in the penalty area. Imagine that. Because I, for the life of me, couldn't for so long. Like, I used to always come on these match reactions and stuff, and I used to always say, like, I wish we were good at set pieces. Because we have so many of them, we should make them count one day. And we never did. We very rarely did. We only seemed to make set pieces count when we were like 3-4-0, 5-0 up, and it didn't really matter. We'd score a set piece. We'd give Van Dijk a complimentary goal or something, just for whatever reason. It very rarely won us games, or it very rarely changed games or anything like that. Very, very rarely. But we'd have so many corners in games. We'd have so many free kicks, and we just never really used them to great advantage, which was strange because our corner takers for years was always Trent and Robertson. Robertson was never really good at corners for whatever reason. Again, he had a decent cross on him when he wanted to, but for whatever reason, from a set piece, his corners were pretty poor. Never really beat the first man. And Trent's corners, very inconsistent. Yeah, is what it is. Is what it is. I don't remember how I got on that tangent. Anyway. Yeah, it is what it is. Anyway. That was the game against West Ham. Liverpool 5, West Ham 2. Massive 3 points. Not the best of performances, but a win is a win. And the win was big nonetheless. Onwards and upwards. Chelsea lose, we go and leapfrog Chelsea. We're now in 5th place. We now have a good opportunity at extending our lead over Chelsea and maybe potentially catching up with Aston Villa or Manchester United this week. A win will see us go into 4th if Aston Villa do lose. And if it's a significant loss as well, there is a good opportunity that if United lose, we could also leapfrog them into 3rd this week. Aston Villa take on Chelsea. That's going to be a huge game Wednesday night. I can't wait to personally see that one because that one's going to be huge. Huge, huge, huge game there. Whilst Manchester United, they obviously play Newcastle on Wednesday. Now, that's not a given, despite Man United's good form in recent weeks. The Aston Villa game is certainly not a given the fact that I don't know what Chelsea team is going to turn up. And at the same time, I don't even know what Aston Villa team is going to turn up because I was expecting them to beat Wolves and they didn't. So Liverpool have a golden opportunity here to go potentially into 3rd, maybe into 4th, or at the very least, close the gap on both teams that are above them right now in the race for top 4, top 3, whatever the case may be. Very good opportunity. We're against Wolves. Wolves, bottom of the table. Wolves, rock bottom, pretty much done and dusted as far as what their Premier League status is concerned. I would love them to perform a late Great Escape, but it doesn't seem it's going to be likely to happen. But that doesn't mean that we should take our eyes off this. This does not mean that we shouldn't be professional in this. Liverpool need to be professional. Liverpool need to be smart. Liverpool need to be focused from the first whistle right the way through to the last, because Wolves have given other teams nightmares this season. Wolves have been tricky for most teams to navigate through. And I'm talking most of the big teams as well. Even if they haven't exactly won those games, they've still not been pushovers in those games. Like I say, if they had better finishing, they might have actually at least got a point against us. They got a point against Arsenal a few short weeks ago. Let's not forget that. They've given tough games to the likes of Manchester United, to the likes of Chelsea, to the likes of, Aston Villas. Like I say, they beat them on Friday night. Let's not go into this game believing that this is going to be a foregone conclusion. This is going to be an easy win, because I guarantee you it will not be. Wolves will be physical. Wolves will be tough. Wolves will be disciplined for the most part. and they'll try and frustrate Liverpool, and they'll try and use as much of their supporters as possible. Like I say, they are at home under the lights on a Wednesday night, so they'll be using all their support as possible. We cannot, under any circumstances, underestimate this Wolverhampton Wanderers team. We really cannot. If we do that, we might have already lost before a ball is even kicked. Or at the very least, we drop points. And this is a golden opportunity, like I say. A golden opportunity to potentially close the gap, potentially leapfrog Aston Villa or Man United, and either or. So we need to get the 3 points in this one. Take no prisoners, take no chances, get the job done by any means necessary. Fingers crossed. Yeah, I agree with you, bro. Fingers crossed. I'm with you on that one. I'm really devastated that Liverpool are not in a title race. Frustrating thing is, as Abdul mentioned a couple of comments ago, there's been some horrible losses and some really poor draws that Liverpool have suffered this season. You know, if we'd have just turned four of those losses into wins, we'd be 4 points behind Arsenal right now. If we'd have got those 4 losses as wins, or even just turned a couple of those draws into wins, if we'd have held on against Leeds when we were like 2 goals up against them, if we held on against Fulham and not lost in the final seconds of the game, or drew in the final seconds of the game to them, or if we actually managed to beat Burnley, our season could be looking so much different than what it is right now. Because when I look at Arsenal and I look at Man City, I don't look at Man City the same way that I did 5 or 6 years ago. They're not that same Man City team that we went toe-to-toe with, but would always come up second best because City were just slightly ahead of us. They're not that team no more. They're a softened version of that team. Arsenal, a bit of jeopardy, and some of their players go a bit overboard. Try a bit too much. We could have put some serious pressure on this Arsenal team. Some serious pressure on this Arsenal team. But yet, we decided to change our approach. We decided to change the way that we play. We decided to stick with certain things that clearly weren't working, ditch some things that were. And we're left in this situation where our expectations have been lowered this season. We could still be on for a great season. If we win the Champions League, I ain't going to say no to that, of course. But we've got a long way to go, and we've got a very tough side of the group to navigate through. Galatasaray up first. Anybody thinking that's an easy game? Get your head tested. It ain't going to be an easy game. We already lost to them earlier on in the league phase, earlier on this season. We're out for revenge. Then in the next round, we have one of Chelsea or PSG. I would like it to be Chelsea, A, because it will be easier than facing PSG. B, because it would reignite the Champions League side of the rivalry between Chelsea and Liverpool, which I thought would be nice. But C, I also don't want us to lose to PSG again and Arnie Slot get complete PTSD from losing to the French champions again. Let's say we get through to the semi-final. We've got one of Bayern Munich, Atalanta, Manchester City, or Real Madrid to contend with. Now, if it's Real Madrid, that might be the favourable of the four. And I never thought I'd be saying that, but it weirdly is. If it's Real Madrid, it might be the most favourable of them four. Atalanta, Liverpool never seemingly do well against Italian clubs in Europe, so I'd like to stay clear of them. We never seem to do well against Italian clubs. Man City, we know all about them. And Bayern would rip us apart. I feel like Bayern would rip us apart. Where they play in compared to the way that we play, I feel like Bayern would beat us. Final wise, take your pick. Barcelona, Newcastle, Atletico. A repeat of the 2019 final with Tottenham again. Bodo Glint, maybe. Everyone's seemingly new flavour of the season. Sporting Lisbon. Bayer Leverkusen. Arsenal. And Arsenal have got a pretty clear path till at least the semi-finals. They could meet Sporting or Bodo Glint in the quarters if they obviously beat Bayer Leverkusen, which, let's face it, they should. They should beat Bayer Leverkusen. They should make it through to the quarters. They'll meet one of them teams. And again, you'd make them heavy favourites to progress to the semis. And then who do they meet there? Chances are probably will be Barcelona. They are against Newcastle in the quarterfinals. In the round of 16. The winner of that game will obviously meet the winner of Tottenham versus Atletico, which at this current moment in time probably will be Atletico, especially because it seemingly would stand to reason for Tottenham to just throw the towel in on their Champions League campaign and focus on actually trying to stay in the Premier League, given their current situation. Could be tough. Could be tough in that semi-final. I would still put my money on Liverpool. Yeah, I would for Wednesday. Sorry, not Wednesday, Tuesday. Everyone else is playing Wednesday. Yeah, I would for Tuesday. What I'm interested in is what team do we go for in the FA Cup? That's my main interest. What team do we go for in the FA Cup? Do we go with experience, tried and tested? Do we go with a mixture of experience and youth? Or do we go youth? For me, I'd like to see a bit of rotation, but us to take it seriously. We can't do what we did against Palace in the Carabao Cup. We can't just throw the towel in. Got to really go for it. I'd like to see a little bit of rotation. I'd like to see more of Engamoa. I'd like to see a bit of Enyoni in there as well. For the most part, I'd like to see us go full strength. Only one I can maybe consider, maybe Mamadashvili instead of Alisson. It's the only one I would consider. Otherwise, go strong. Go strong. And get back to back wins. And get back to back wins against Wolves this week. That is what we are looking for as Liverpool fans. Get the win on both occasions. Big 3 points, heaps pressure on both Man United and Chelsea to get wins in games that they are they're not going to be easy games by any stretch of the imagination. Get the win there, put the pressure on them. Get the win on Friday and advance to the next round of the FA Cup. Simple as that. But it also potentially easier said than done. Bodo may be the surprising twist. I hope so. I'd like a complete underdog in Bodo Glint. There always seems to be one every year that manages to get through by some stage, and they always manage to take a big team with them. So I'd love it if Bodo Glint got through and managed to knock out Arsenal. I think that'd be amazing. That'd be outstanding by them. You never know. You know, like I say, a few years ago, it was Unai Emery's Villarreal that got through to the semi-finals. Eric Ten Hag's Ajax also got through to the semi-finals at one point as well. There always seems to be a surprising team that makes it pretty far, like you say. And maybe this year it could be Bodo Glint. Be awesome. Would be awesome. Anyway, big week coming up for Liverpool. Wolves tomorrow night. Wolves again on Friday night. Are they both away, by the way? Are they both away? Yes, they are. They are both away. So we're kind of making the West Midlands our home for a little bit. And then we take on Galatasaray on Tuesday. So we get 4 days rest between then and our Champions League game. Galatasaray away from home, away in Turkey. Not going to be easy. That one's not going to be easy. But fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. And that's where we're going to wrap it up, guys. Thank you all so much for watching and for listening. I appreciate each and every single one of you. Appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedules to hear the ramblings of this guy. Do me a massive favor, though. If you did like the video, hit the like button. If you want to see more content like this, then hit the subscribe button and go and check out the channel. Otherwise, thank you all so much for watching and listening. Appreciate each and every single one of you that's already liked. I appreciate each and every single one of you who has subscribed to the channel. Your love and support means so much. Big up, bro. It's a great show. Thank you for being a part of it. Really do appreciate you, dude. I love the talks. Yeah, this is why I do it, man. This is why I do it. I love the talk. I love the interaction. I love the comments, the challenges, the opinions, the comment, all sorts. This is what makes football so great. Everybody coming together with different opinions. And if we can be civil about it and have a fair discussion, we may not always agree, but the chat, the comments, the debate will always be an interesting one. So that's why I love it. That's why I absolutely love it. Thanks, guys. Nice chat. Nice chat to you as well, bro. And to each and every single one of you that's already contributed to the chat today. Big up to you as well. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks live stream. Until next time, I'll see and speak with you all again soon in another video or live stream or whatever it may be. Cheers, guys. Thanks everyone for watching. Thank you once again for your love and support. Really does mean the world to me. I cannot thank you all enough. And I will see and speak with you all again soon in another video or live stream or whatever it may be. Cheers, guys. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your night, day, wherever you are, wherever you're watching on playback, whatever. I'll see you again soon. Peace.